Peace and blessings. Namaste. To all light warriors, workers, and everything in between, it is I, Sophie. Today, I'm wearing black and white, and I'm wearing black and white for the simple fact that I'm representing the nature of duality today, okay? And this message is going out for the collective because I'm going to still keep pushing how to establish this equilibrium so that you can escape this matrix unscathed, and you can learn how to detach, okay, from all of this, But this message really hits the esoteric and Gnostic community, okay? Those of us that like to go back and look at ancient Ugarit and cuneiform, and those of us that track the Elohim from beginning to end throughout different pantheons and different empires and different religious systems, okay? If you're one of those students, this video is for you, okay? So, you know, when we go on these type of quests, sometimes we're unaware of why it is we're going on these quests. I've been on a quest nature since I was very young to try to find God. Didn't know that there was a reason for that. Didn't know that I would be influential during this time, and so are you. And many of you have started reflecting back on your journey and going, oh, I was being set up for that. Oh, I've been trained for that, okay? Now, interesting enough, I went back in time and I like to read, you know, a lot of the Nag Hammadi texts as well and cross-reference them, you know, with other texts. And you will come across a story, a repeated pattern through ancient time all the way up to today. And you'll always see that there is what they consider the dueling brothers. Okay, these are brothers that are completely in opposition of each other, and they're kind of looked up as twins. Okay, so in ancient Babylon, you had the Enki and Enlil story, okay? You also had, a little later on, you had Jacob and Esau. You have Jesus and Lucifer. You have Osiris and Set. You have Shiva and Vishnu, okay? It just goes on and on and on and on, okay? Throughout all of these pantheons, and even Thor and Loki, all right? Now, whether or not these stories are literal is up to you, okay? As a matter of fact, there is no spiritual system out here that we have the ability to directly solidify, all right? So everybody on this planet that is practicing any type of spiritual system are all doing it based on faith. You have to understand that because we can't verify this. Okay, what we're working with is writings that has been left to us from our ancestors. Those of us who have the ability to tap into other altered states of your own consciousness or different timelines. Those of us who are channeling dreams and visions. You know, so we're putting together a story based off of things that was left for us and things that we are encountering. Okay, and so we are having faith that the information that is left to us is accurate and true, all right? And we're having faith that if we understand these principles, that we will be okay, all right? And my question to you, and what I'm challenging you to do, is ask yourself this question. Does it matter, or is it more important to verify whether or not these teachings were 100% accurate, or is it better to understand the message behind it, okay? Because with each type of teaching, if you have eyes to see, there is a lesson. There is a lesson. So it can be literal, it can be allegorical, but are you getting the message? The message of the dueling brothers deals with duality, okay? And how it entered into Earth School and why it's here and what it is that we're supposed to learn, all right? So first and foremost, you have the Enki and your Enlil dynamic, right? One was supposed to be so benevolent and taught humanity forbidden knowledge, okay? The other one was supposed to be a little bit more stern and rigid and caused the flood, okay? One was more promiscuous. The other one was more balanced about family and wives, you know. So they had these two different type of personalities, all right? What if I told you, this is up to you. Remember, if it doesn't resonate, toss it or store it. But what if I told you that the Enki Enlil dynamic was representing two wings of the exact same bird? And that's what all of this is about from higher levels of consciousness. All right, you want me to break this down? Okay. I love doing stuff like this. This is fun. All right, so a higher level state of consciousness. Now, before I get into that, we're going to deal with what it means to be multidimensional, because you hear this term thrown around. We have an idea of it, but do we really have an in-depth understanding of what it is that we are saying when we are saying multidimensional, okay? When we're saying multidimensional, what we're saying is the aspect of time no longer exists, okay? Once you hit the fourth dimension, the aspect of time no longer exists. So we are collecting different versions of ourselves from 3D to whatever highest dimension that we personally can achieve. For instance, even if we are on a 3D Earth, and the Earth itself is transitioning to 5D consciousness, the Earth may be here, and that becomes a standard for the planet. But individually, you may be higher dimensionally, okay? So, in other words, we do have 6-dimensional beings here, 7-dimensional beings here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, okay? We have plenty of dimensional beings here that is operating on the 5D planet. So how does duality start to kick in? Simply this. For those of you who went through your awakening process and your activations, okay, you would notice that you had to go through all types of pains, energies, anxieties, shaking, vibration. With me, it was a lot of vibration. Coming to realize that what we're trying to do is condense a broad level, higher level of consciousness and condense it to a 3D vessel, okay? So when that happens, you are condensing an energy to fit into something that is much smaller, all right? So you don't have all of the essence of yourself, all right? Well, so you end up multidimensional because for each dimension that exists, there is a version of you that is existing in that dimension. The lower the dimension, the more dense the energy and the less connected with the source. Okay, so when we start off in our incarnations and we become these emanations, we are there, we are powerful. And as we start to descend into the world of chaos or Mount Kuth or Earth School to start beginning our journey, we lose a sense of essence of ourselves, and it's almost as if starting all over. The whole purpose is try to reconnect with your higher versions of yourself and keep collecting them to you so that you become complete again and your karma is all wiped out from all of the other past lives. All right, so the case with Enki and Enlil and this story of the brothers we are dealing with a version of a consciousness that condensed themselves on 3D and the higher level of a consciousness that is overseeing the lower level of consciousness as they are living out their experiences and making decisions. All right. So we have this dual nature that is going on. It's different when you're sitting at a higher level vantage point and you're looking down at the earth and you can see everything, right? Than when it is when you're actually on the earth and you can't, and you have to feel your way around. A lot of mistakes happen that way, okay? We get into a lot of trouble that way, especially if we forgot how to reconnect and keep moving up. So what you'll have is a Lucifer Jesus dynamic. You'll have an Enlil Enki dynamic. You will have a duality that is going on, even within yourself, all right? The further away that we are from source, the more condensed and dark the energy. The closer that we are with Source, the more light and expansive. So we're all on a quest here to gather ourselves, okay? Collect the different versions of ourselves, clean up the karma of the versions of ourselves, okay? Incorporate them and keep on moving forward to our very point of existence, all right? So duality hit this planet because consciousness had to be split, all right? Everything, a whole totality of an expansive form of consciousness or frequency trying to condense itself into a body and a 3D earth, you're going to lose things on the way, all right? You're going to lose things. When we say we have versions or higher selves, okay, and we're talking multidimensional, this is true because time, I like to look at it like this, okay? I like to look at time as spheres, simple spheres of events. And you can isolate one. Work on this. You can isolate the middle and work on it. Do you see what I'm saying? And then we put it together. It's self-existing. And at any point, you can access any event that you need. Okay, so now that we have that under control, what we're doing is rapidly cleaning up all of these versions, collecting them, perfecting ourselves, and we're doing this upward mobility. When consciousness split and the energy is denser on the planet and self-will start to come in, a lot of us went through these falls, okay? And we weren't having the ability to connect and identify with higher versions of ourselves because we forgot they existed. Okay, so this is where you have your gods that are blind and are saying, okay, I must be God, or, you know, or this, that, and the third, because they got here and got lost and still having to figure out and make their way back up to connection with the ineffable or the source or the universe or however you want to spin it, whatever fits well with you. Okay. Duality remained here because the split was here, okay? And the L's were still here, still trying to figure out how to get back home, all right? Instead of removing that duality that entered in, it decided to stay, all right? The duality stays on the Earth planet now. Why? Because as the Elohim was going through their training, okay, and understanding how to get out of it, they realized something, okay? A lot of them realized something. This duality that existed, that brought with them, even though it was unintentional, could still be useful. And the reason why it can still be useful is because what it does is forces the collective to make a decision based off of their free will. And typically it is done in extremes first. It's either black or white. Whatever the consciousness starts to gravitate to, say it starts to gravitate to the light, it goes to the white, but it goes into the light in its extreme form. Okay, if the consciousness starts to go to the dark, shifts, it goes to the dark in its extreme form. All right, pay attention because this is important. Once you're in these extremities of light and dark, what ends up happening is you'll end up faced with a dilemma where it's not going to be that easy to be black and white. This is when discernment and your critical thinking skills and your righteousness starts to kick in to make a solid choice based off of these two extremes. Neither one of them has the answers. Okay? One is just, you have to do this. The other one is, you need to do that. Okay? None of them have the answer. So what we end up doing now is trying to reason, okay? We're trying to reason, we're trying to utilize our knowledge, we're trying to utilize our wisdom, and we're saying to ourselves, these two extremes just can't be the answer because the answer has to be in between, okay? Or somewhere in between this. It has not been defined, okay? I can't walk like this all the time. I can't have to stick up my tail, and I can't be serious all day long. I can't be silly and foolish, you know, on this side all day long. I can't be happy and jovial and laughing all day long. I can't be angry. I can't be bitter, all day long. Are you getting what it is that I'm saying? All right, so we start to learn from the nature of this duality, and we merge them into a polarity to understand that there's not just black and white, but there are also gray areas. And how we are able to get to these gray areas and the understanding of the gray areas is by dealing with the intention of the heart, right? So now we have this thing where, okay, there are some people that are doing the right things for all the wrong reasons, and there are some things that are doing the wrong things for the right reason. How do we process where their mental standing is? All right, so because the duality hit the planet and it forced everyone on this planet to start to really see past the duality, to really see past the black and white, to really understand that there is a whole vastness out there and there are different ways to skin a cat, then it ignites our critical thinking skills, it ignites our levels of understanding, it ignites our wisdom, it ignites our knowledge. All right. Once we start getting this equilibrium down pat and we start seeing things in black and white, that's when we kind of coast in righteousness. All right. The duality that is now staying or has stayed on this planet, even though it was unintentional and it was only because of the fall or the descent. Okay, here from to what am I going to do here? You know what I mean? Everybody's eating hot dogs. We don't know what to do, right? So, but it did something amazing. It taught us all, okay? It taught us all to look really at the intention behind the matter and to utilize more of a righteous judgment. The Enki, Enlil, the Jesus, Lucifer, the Osiris Set, the Thor, Lokis, they're two wings of the same bird, and its dealing is designed to teach you. Okay? All right? Now, I'm not saying that these beings don't exist. Chances are they did and left legacies, and I'm okay with that. I was one of those kids when I was young that was always into Greek mythology. I was into all types of mythology, Pandora's box and all of that. You know what I mean? So that was fun for me, okay? Star Wars, fun for me. All the certain things I gravitated to was for a specific reason, right? So even though we're reading about these stories of these brothers, your consciousness should be quickening during this time, and we should be thinking, what exactly is the message behind it? Because it represents every last one of us in our heightened ascended state and our lowered nature. So we all go through processes of being Lucifer before we go through processes of being Christ. Okay? Does this make sense to you? Are you understanding the fall, the descent, and then the ascent? All right? Pay attention, not to so much of your religious teachings for the strict this, that, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and this is what you're supposed to do. No, we leave these types of teachings, and it's designed to make you think and expand your consciousness. A lot of writings have been left behind as learning tools for you. Even the Bible tells you, okay, that it was built and put together for edification purposes. All right. And when we're saying edification, we're saying a study. You're not supposed to look at the Bible just to say, this is how I'm supposed to live. Okay. You're supposed to look at the Bible and other religious systems for not only the things they did right, but also the things they did wrong, you see. Okay. We're supposed to learn from the successes and failures of our ancestors. All right. This is about this whole learning journey. And if you can get the messages behind what is going on, behind the stories, whether or not they are true, it's no consequence. What is it saying to your spirit? Okay. Who cares if it's true? Who cares? What's the message? The message is designed for you to understand where you are in life, how you process information, what is important to you, which one of these natures do you identify with the most? And if you pick a side that you identify with the most, now you have to figure out why. What it has done for you? What's the pitfalls? And is there an easier way to get there? Can we get rid of the duality altogether and get there? The new earth is when we remove the duality. But up until this point, it was a necessary journey for growth, okay? But those who have gotten it, those who have accepted the equilibrium path, those who know that everything can't be just black and white, and have learned how to judge from the heart and the mind of a situation, you will be fine. Congratulations. It's time to move up. So if you were at 60, you're probably at 70 now, which means that you have conquered 60, brought that level of consciousness incorporated into you, and you're complete up until that point. But we got some more dimensions to go, don't we? That's all I have to say. I am Sophie. I love you all.